Help me to reach 2,000 subscribers. The moment I saw the text message, my heart stopped. Can't wait to see you tonight. Same place. It wasn't sent to me. It was from my husband, to a contact saved only as S. My hands trembled as I stared at the screen, my reflection in the glass warped and foreign. The phone buzzed again, a follow-up message appearing right before my eyes. Last night was incredible. You taste like sin. My stomach twisted. I felt like vomiting, screaming, breaking something. Instead, I just stood there, motionless, my throat tight, my mind desperately trying to find another explanation. Maybe it was a joke. Maybe it was a friend teasing him. Maybe. Well, deep down I knew. I sat on the edge of our bed, feeling the sheets that still smelled faintly of his cologne. Everything in the room felt cruelly ordinary. The half-empty glass of water on his nightstand, the shirt he left on the chair, the photo of us smiling from last summer. I stared at that photo for a long time. I remembered how safe I'd felt then. His arm wrapped around me as if it meant something. But now that same arm had held someone else, touched someone else, whispered those same words to someone who wasn't me. When he came home that evening, I acted normal. Dinner was on the table, candles lit. He smiled, kissed me on the cheek. His lips brushed mine with practiced ease. I studied his eyes. Calm, unbothered, full of the same warmth that once melted me. I wondered how easily a man could lie with that face. How was work? I asked, keeping my tone even. He shrugged. The usual. You. Fine. I smiled, tasting bitterness instead of soup. We talked about nothing, our words floating in the air like fragile glass bubbles. I wanted to smash every one of them to see what truth hid inside. But I said nothing. Not yet. That night, when he fell asleep beside me, I stared at him under the pale light from the window. His face looked peaceful, almost innocent. I thought of the messages again. The lies. The betrayal crawling under our sheets. My chest ached with the weight of silence. By morning, something inside me had changed. I decided I wouldn't cry. I wouldn't beg. I wouldn't let him see me break. Instead, I'd make him feel what I felt. I'd make him choke on his own deception. There was a man at work, Daniel. Kind eyes, easy laugh, always careful not to cross any lines. He'd asked me out once before, and I'd said no, proudly flashing my wedding ring. But now that ring felt like a cage. That day, I lingered by Daniel's desk, pretending to ask about a project. Our hands brushed when he passed me a file, and I didn't pull away. I looked up, met his eyes, and something flickered there. Hesitation, desire, confusion. Are you okay? He asked softly. No, I whispered. But I want to be. Started with coffee after work. Harmless conversation. Laughs that felt too good to be innocent. He noticed the small cracks in my voice when I mentioned my husband. He didn't ask for details, but he understood. Then one evening, when the office was nearly empty and rain lashed the windows, I kissed him. It wasn't gentle. It was desperate, trembling, full of fury and pain and need. His arms wrapped around me, steadying me as I fell apart in silence. When I got home, guilt hit me like a freight train. My husband was in the kitchen, humming as he cooked dinner like nothing was wrong. I looked at him, and for the first time, I saw not the man I loved, but the man who broke me. The man who forced me to become someone else. He didn't notice my shaking hands or the faint scent of rain and another man's cologne on my skin. For weeks, I lived a double life, one filled with quiet rage, the other with forbidden warmth. I told myself it wasn't revenge. It was justice. But every time Daniel touched me, I felt both power and disgust. One night, after Daniel fell asleep, I stared at the ceiling of his apartment. I realized I didn't love him. I didn't even want him. I just wanted to feel something that wasn't betrayal. The next morning I ended it. He looked hurt, but he didn't ask why. Maybe he already knew. I went home and finally decided to confront my husband. He was on the couch, scrolling through his phone. I sat across from him, calm but trembling inside. Who's S? Yes. His fingers froze. He looked up slowly. What? The woman you've been texting. His face drained of color. You went through my phone. I found your messages by accident, I said quietly. Don't try to twist this. Just tell me the truth. He swallowed hard. It was a mistake. It didn't mean anything. I laughed bitterly. You told her she tasted like sin. He looked away. I'm sorry. Sorry doesn't fix anything, I said. My voice cracked. Do you even know what you did to me? Tears blurred my vision, but I refused to let them fall. He reached for me, but I pulled back. I cheated too, I said, barely more than a whisper. His face twisted in disbelief. What? After I found out, I slept with someone else. The silence that followed was deafening. He stared at me, his mouth slightly open, as if the air had been punched out of him. You what? I wanted you to feel what I felt, I said. To know what it's like to be betrayed by the person you trust most. He stood abruptly, pacing the room. How could you do that? How could you? Snap. You started this. You broke us. He turned to me, eyes burning with a mix of anger and hurt. You didn't have to destroy everything. I took a deep breath. You destroyed it the moment you touched her. He sank onto the couch, burying his face in his hands. I watched him crumble, and instead of satisfaction, I felt hollow. Revenge didn't heal, it poisoned. I walked to the window and looked out at the rain falling against the glass. The reflection that looked back at me wasn't the woman I used to be. It was someone colder, wiser, emptier. I don't know if I can ever forgive you, I said quietly. He lifted his head. Do you still love me? The question hung in the air. Once, I would have answered without hesitation. Now, the truth was tangled in guilt and pain. I don't know, I said finally. Maybe I love the memory of who we were. He nodded slowly, tears pooling in his eyes. Then maybe that's all we'll ever have. I walked away before I could change my mind. The door closed behind me with a soft click, final and absolute. As I stepped into the cold night, the rain soaked through my clothes, but I didn't care. The storm outside matched the one inside me. Chaotic, endless, cleansing. For the first time in a long time, I wasn't someone's wife, someone's victim, or someone's revenge. I was just me.